Yes! What's happening, friends? Welcome back to the channel, Football Therapy, with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well here in this festive season. Lots to get into in today's Chelsea news. Apparently, Christopher Nkunku, his agent, is offering him to Barcelona, and the Chelsea forward is willing to lower his wages to leave Chelsea and go and play for Barcelona. Yeah, we'll get into that. A little bit on Jadon Sancho as well, of how Chelsea are feeling about him and the price they will end up paying Manchester United for him. On top of that, we'll speak a little bit about Joao Felix. Lots of Chelsea fans wondering if he's been hard done by. I must say, it feels a little bit frustrating at the moment. By the way, what is almost entirely positive season for us so far in terms of story. We got to remember where we're coming from, where our expectations are, and where we actually are. So it's really good. Everything's good. But this is Chelsea news, and as always, I react to the headlines. So as always, thanks for joining me. If you want to support the content before we dip in, please do consider doing so. Just drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you want to. Hit the bell if you choose to. And let's get into it. Alright, should we start off with Jadon Sancho then? Fabrizio Romano saying this: Chelsea will pay £25 million to Manchester United for Jadon Sancho. This is now the final fee, which looks guaranteed. Chelsea believe he's worth way more than this and are very happy with his attitude in training as well. So they're happy with him in training and his attitude, which of course was two things thrown at Jadon Sancho that maybe, is not his strongest assets. Clearly he's come to Chelsea, a boyhood Chelsea fan. He's back at London, back home after being in Manchester, then Germany, and then Manchester again. He's back in the capital. And he's wanting to make it work, the 24-year-old winger. Of course, he's been very good this season, generally. He had a frustrating, afternoon at Goodison Park, but who didn't? It's, the blustery conditions, sideways rain, and a very low block in the top 5 leagues. They're one of the best defensive sides since October. I was seeing a match of the day. The defensive stats from Everton have been incredible in the last couple of months. And actually, I didn't say it in my match review, but we should have had a penalty, Pickford on Gusto. And had we got that penalty, no one would be talking about slightly ineffective wingers and Sancho, Neto, and Palmer or whatever. Palmer would probably score that penalty and we'd go, wow, what an away win, considering all things considered the last game at Goodison Park. But it's pleasing to hear Chelsea are very happy with Jadon Sancho's training and Jadon Sancho's attitude. And for a player with that much experience in, English football, in Bundesliga football, in Champions League football, he's played Champions League finals, he's back at Chelsea, his attitude's good. That experience, that raw, talented, natural ability for £25 million is nothing but excellent business. So we should really reflect. I mean, he's still probably the starting left winger for Chelsea. I saw on social media people calling for Felix or Nkunku to play over him on the left wing. Nkunku's not a winger. He's so ineffective on the left wing. He's like a passenger. Felix plays a little bit more as an inside 10. We'll speak about him a bit more in just a moment. But let's just praise Jadon Sancho. It's a good start, a couple of great goals, a few assists, he won a penalty, he's working hard, he's training hard, he's part of this developing young team. Great signing, you'd have to say. Let's move on. So let's talk about the aforementioned Christopher Nkunku. Now, I'm going to cite an article here from football-españa.net, who they themselves reference an article from Sport, Spanish publication. So I'm going to read this to you guys now. I'm not sharing screens. Sharing screens, I guess, is what I'm supposed to say. But yeah, I'm going to jump into this article. It is, like I said, it's on Football-España. You can see yourself, by a chap called Barlow. It's no secret that Barcelona are looking to add to their forward line next summer, and the new name that has arrived on their door as a potential option is Chelsea forward Christopher Nkunku, and apparently supposedly open to an exit from Chelsea, which is something we've heard from multiple sources. The 27-year-old has 12 goals in 25 games for Chelsea this season, but is in pursuit of, and that's, those 25 games as well, lots of those games are just a few minutes off the bench, it's worth mentioning. But is in a pursuit of a regular starting role, which he is willing to leave Chelsea for. Napoli have also been linked to him, and Sport say, so this is where the information is coming from, Spanish publication Sport, say that Nkunku has been offered to Barcelona by agent Pini Zahavi, who of course Chelsea know well, who shares a good relationship with Barcelona president. This is Pini Zahavi here, so I don't think it's the same guy twice. The French forward is willing to reduce his salary to leave Chelsea and would be keen on a move to Barcelona, provided they can sign you and pay you, mate. Barcelona's biggest problems at the moment are registering players. But if they can promise you that, I can see why it's, alluring. However, the Blaugrana are yet to do more than just inform themselves of the conditions of a deal. They have no plan to move for Nkunku, except that the off chances that he's available on loan in the a reduced rate in the summer. It's a different matter. So basically saying that in the winter, in the January transfer window, which opens in like a week, by the way, that he would if they could get Nkunku on a loan then and then buy in the summer, they'll have a crack. There are there's a tweet here being referenced by Barca Center, talking about in the Atletico Madrid game, which Barcelona lost, which they should have won. Gavi on various occasions was pointing out to Lewandowski that he wasn't pressing the opposition's offense. Lewandowski's mid-30s. Maybe they're looking for a more like running around forward, which Nkunku isn't a centre forward anything like Lewandowski. He's not even really like Jackson, but Barca do like buying names, don't they? And Barcelona continued to be linked with the likes of Nico Williams, Kvaratskhelia, Rafa Leao, but Nkunku could be a much more economic alternative. If he's lowering his wages, they'll be significantly lower than the demands of Leao and Williams, at least. And I don't know what Chelsea would sell Nkunku for. It would be nothing less than £40 million. The Catalan Giants will not move for any of them until they have clarity on their finances. One difference between Nkunku and even Marcus Rashford, who's also been linked, of course, to Barcelona since declaring his desire to leave United, and their other targets is position. Nkunku and Rashford tend to play much more on one side, whereas Williams, Leao, and Kvaratskhelia tend to play from the touchline. Yeah, so Rashford and Nkunku can play down the middle, but slightly off the left is their sort of preferred place on the pitch, I guess. Guys, this story isn't going to go away. While Christopher Nkunku isn't a starter for Chelsea's strongest 11, he, as much more the senior of all the other attackers, will be thinking, I've got to do something here. We've done it to death here on the channel. It kind of makes sense. I kind of understand it. I kind of sympathize for his position, because not only is he not starting when he feels like he was going to be the center of all Chelsea's attacks a couple of summers ago. He was like the guy. Obviously, that was before we knew about Cole Palmer, etc., etc. But, stuff has changed massively. He obviously had that injury, which didn't help him. But now he's in a position where he's like, right, I'm not injured. I want to play. I need to play. And not only do I need to play, I probably, and this is me speculating here, I probably need to play in a side that suits me more than this Chelsea team at the moment. Chelsea, of course, pay Christopher Nkunku higher wages than the likes of Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, significantly more than Cole Palmer or Joao Felix or Sancho or Neto. Of course, Noni still on really low wages. So he's earning a lot more than all of them. So I think if Chelsea had an opportunity to, make a few quid on him, get his wages off the books, buy a striker that actually suits what they want to do in terms of stylistically, I wonder if Chelsea's resolve will be tested. Now, of course, it has to be mentioned that Chelsea's public position, and certainly the position that they're briefing to journalists, is they don't want to sell him, that they're happy with him and he's scoring goals. And, I think the story's changing a little bit personally, because Enzo Maresca's now coming out publicly saying, look, yeah, he's not a striker. We've been playing him as a striker. He's not a striker, is he? Like what I've been saying since the beginning, he's sort of going, yeah, he's not, is he? That's kind of where we've got to now. And he's suddenly playing in a position where you've got, your Cole Palmers and, you're inverting wide players and your late runs from your Enzo Fernandez's of this world, and suddenly you've got a very congested area, and he's not really a playmaker in Nkunku. He's a direct finisher of moves. He's not a creator of moves, and that is tricky in Maresca's system here. I feel it's important for me to say that I really like Nkunku. If you're new to this channel or you haven't heard me say it before, I was absolutely so gassed of his signing. I still think he's the best finisher that we have at the club, or at least on par with Cole Palmer. But he's more of a seasoned finisher in Nkunku. He can be a sniffer in the box. He can be a poacher. He can be... he'll score an overhead kick, he'll score glancing headers despite not being that tall, he'll go for all of it, he can do all the finishes. He's an elite finisher, and in the right system, and dare I say, a little bit like Kai Havertz, if you make it work, he's a really, really useful top tier Galactico asset. I would rather have Nkunku in our team than Havertz, because... we've dealt with a lot of Havertz. I'm not a Kai Havertz hater like many Chelsea fans. I'm sort of grateful for him and I'm an admirer of his style of play. But considering the money we got for Havertz and the wages that we were alleviated of, massively positive sale to Arsenal. And if you just said to me now, you can have one player, Nkunku or Havertz, like finances wiped away, I'd still choose Nkunku because of the type of player he is. And he's a way more accomplished finisher than Kai Havertz, who will get you goals. I just think this is a situation where the stories won't go away. While he's not a starter for Chelsea, this story won't go away until he essentially gets sold, I think. And I understand that it's no slight on him at all. I totally understand his position. No, I don't want to change formation to accommodate him. I don't want to play him on the left wing, because not only does that makes him ineffective, and that makes us ineffective ultimately as a team. So... I'm open to him having more opportunities. Maybe instead of Cole Palmer, but we'd have to change how we play slightly, I suppose, because it would be less playmaking Nkunku like Palmer, and it would be more, I don't know, balls from the fullbacks or something to try and get Nkunku running into space. But it might just be changing too much. But it's tricky. It'd be very interesting to see what happens with Nkunku, but expect this story to not go away until it does. Alright, I'm just going to pause to sip my drink so we can talk about Joao Felix. Now, this is a little bit more of a tricky one, because Joao Felix, I think, does suit our style of play. He can do that Cole Palmer role of playmaking. He's a bit of an artist, Joao Felix. I'm a big fan, actually. Like Jadon Sancho, he lowered his wages so he could come and play for Chelsea. And rebuild his career and find a home. So there's actually a lot of parallels with him and Jadon Sancho. Of course, they were both 24 years old when they joined, like Neto. But actually, Joao Felix is 25 now. So he's another year older. He's been around top-level football for 8 years. Was he 17 when he went to Atleti for 120 million euros or something? So he's played Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Chelsea twice. He's looking to settle and make it work now, even at the beginning of the season when he wasn't in the starting 11, because he's never been in Chelsea's starting 11. He was interviewed in that press conference about, being deputy to Palmer or whatever. He wasn't even asked directly about Palmer. He was just like, yeah, I've got time. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to be, a Chelsea starter. I'm going to work really, really hard, and it'll be undeniable. I'll be a starter for Chelsea sort of thing. And, obviously, that's yet to happen. We're nearly halfway through the season, and where are we? About halfway, and it's yet to happen. The thing is with Nkunku, Joao Felix, is he can play as a left winger. I think on FIFA he's listed as a left winger, but he plays a little bit more as an inside 10. He kind of want to play as in the hole and create a little bit, but he also can play as a false 9, Joao Felix. He can sort of hold the ball up and win headers. He doesn't seem like that kind of player, but he is. And he doesn't want to. He suits a false 9 better than Nkunku, and I'll tell you why. Because Nkunku is direct. He wants to run and attack space and finish chances. Joao Felix doesn't mind slowing the game down. Remember, I also talk about Roberto Firmino. For me, he was the quintessential false 9 for that Liverpool team. It'd slow the game down and link play with the midfielders and wingers and be a bit, chip balls over the top and do 1-2s and little technical flicks and stuff. That is Joao Felix all over. And, you know, he can sort of win a header and pass the ball out. He's not going to hold the ball up massively. But if we wanted to play... Because we play with a true 9 with Jackson, and we could play with like a false 9 with Joao Felix. But for me... Nkunku's way too much of just a direct runner. He's just your quintessential second striker, isn't he? He wants to play off a big man. He wants to sort of ghost in, cloak and dagger, and he can't be the main man for that. He can't be the main striker for that, the central guy. Jackson can, and he's been really good. Chelsea might buy another centre forward, of course. Still, that's a story that will follow, though I don't think it will be next month. But it is a story that will stay with us. But Joao Felix, I am disappointed because I think he could have been utilised more in games. Not least because Cole Palmer looks a bit tired at times. We're in danger of falling into, oh, Cole Palmer's really good, we can never take him off, you know? Whereas he is a kid, he understands if, you know, he's not got this glorified ego. He'll understand if he comes off. He'll be gutted because he wants to play, but he's not going to be like, how dare you take me off? He'll be like, oh man, I don't want to come off. But that's the kind of, you know, the character he is. But we should have, for example, brought in Joao Felix at Goodison Park, especially the way things are going with Palmer. I think we should have also brought in Mark Gu, just to, you know, ruffle up the centre backs a little bit when they were tired, especially after, you know, scoring a hat trick midweek. And I think it'd suit Premier League football quite well in certain instances. And you got Enzo Maresca after the match talking about how we got to play different games, different styles. That's a different game. Mark Yu is a very different game. He is a proper blood and thunder number 9. But yes, I think certain games I'd like to see Joao Felix start more. I give him a, you know, if Mykhailo Mudryk is going to get banned and we're just going to stomach it, say for 18 months, give minutes to Joao Felix on the left wing. Start training him as a left winger. See him on the pitch. Let him come inside a little bit more, and you know, and let the fullback overlap or something. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like I don't want it to fail with Joao Felix. It seemed like a sort of luxury Minge signing, didn't it? Like, oh, you want to sell Gallagher for pure profit. You need a player to go the other way. Of course, Samu broke down, which is a shame, really, actually, in hindsight, because he looks like the right kind of profile Maresca would have wanted. Have Joao Felix. He loved it at Chelsea. He loved it there. And he'll lower his wages. You know, go get Felix back. Get Felix back. And we were like, all right. And he's a great player. And I do like him, and I think he can be very useful. And the fact how we got him for, was it £37 million for Joao Felix? Like, wow. That's an incredible deal. Like Jadon Sancho for the profile of players and the following and brand exposure and talent and all that. And age profile and experience is a great deal. Great deal for Joao Felix. And what, he's going to lower his wages to get into this new low Chelsea wage structure just to be part of the guys. Great. So here for it. And he is good. He should be used more. I don't think he should necessarily just be a starter in the same way I don't think Nkunku should be. But Nkunku's had a lot more chances off the bench than Joao Felix. So I'm kind of on board with this feeling amongst Chelsea fans that he's kind of been hard done by. And I wanted to voice my opinion on that. But as always, I want your opinion on that. So please do leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'll thank you as always for liking and subscribing to this channel, Football Therapy. And I do hope to see you back here. I really do. All right. Peace.